You YouTubers. If you're watching my video, you're following the progress of the build of my model railroad, whatever operating railway museum. And these are Facebook pages to the model railroad, as well as a train show page for the state of Florida. Please, if you can, subscribe to my page. Give me a thumbs up if you would. And also, if you're on Facebook, please join one of my pages and follow along with as I build the W.O.R.M up. For those of you who've been keeping up with me, you know I've added flooring to the house, which I'm already trashing already with crap everywhere. But either way, I added the last section to the layout, which is a staging yard as well as the end of the line to the W.O.R.M. Just a brief history of what we got going on. The W.O.R.M is a point-to-point railroad, even though it has the ability to be run in a circle. It is ran as a point-to-point when operating as a model railroad itself. We have the town of whatever, which starts out as it's going to have a passenger terminal both for Amtrak and for the W.O.R.M. The W.O.R.M does serve two towns. One is the town of whatever and the town of wherever. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get any more confusing, right? The town of whatever is the interchange town between the CSX and the W.O.R.M. The W.O.R.M handles its own switching, as where CSX is just going to bring trains, cars and trains in, and the cars in, and exchange them for the ones that are going out. We have a yard track here, inbound outbound yard, as well as a couple storage tracks, which can handle everything from our freight cars to leftover passenger equipment. Also the passing siding for the station. Sometimes freight cars will be put here while CSX and the W.O.R.M is switching on non-museum days when the museum isn't open, so we could use those tracks there. As well as we have the engine house, repair shop, and display turntable for the W.O.R.M. And then we have the town of the W.O.R.M, or town of whatever I should say. I'm sorry. As we all know, you got to forgive the mess. Everything's disheveled from putting in the flooring, bumping my head up underneath that layout, and everything else. I've kind of shook the world of it a little bit, but for the most part, that's the original part of the layout. A little 26 by 50 inch layout. A lot of you, if you've been on my pages, you've seen this thing grow from a little roundy round to what it is today. One of the main industries of the railroad, and one of the primary customers of the W.O.R.M is Flat Cat. Flat Cat has, right now it's got one facility. It's fixing to have two. It's going to be broken into a container, and basically, as you can see here, oversized loads, flat car loads, box car transfer, freight transfer from train to box car, so that offline businesses and companies can still have rail traffic. So it's basically a transload facility. The W.O.R.M will have a switcher staged here, which predominantly this track right here is going to be the switcher track where it's going to be kept, and the W.O.R.M will pick up and drop off cars right in that general area right here. It'll pick up and drop off cars there for the in-town switcher to basically take care of all the Flat Cat needs of moving cars around for them. Then the train's going to take a long single track ride out to the next town, which is the only town that it's going to make a stop at, is wherever, which is going to go behind the backdrop where you ain't going to notice it and everything else, and it's going to come around. It's going to come down track one here. It's going to come down here into the town of wherever. Okay, in the town of whatever here, we're going to have two industries. Like I said, Flat Cat is also, how should I say, expanded. It now is going to have a transflow facility as well as its other facility. Transflow meaning it's going to handle most of your granular and liquid products for offloading on from rail to truck to go into offline industries. I got an idea what I'm going to do with this, so stick around, watch. You'll see how this transforms. As well as the worm, when the scenic trains come in, there will be a small passenger station here where the passengers will get off, get on the buses, and go into town. I don't have enough room to model the town of wherever, so it's just going to be represented by a station stop and basically get taken into town via bus. Also, another industry that we're going to have is something common to Florida, which is going to be a produce slash grocery distributor right here in this general area. Not a very big one, just small enough that, you know, they could ship out Florida strawberries as well as take in other vegetables from other states as well and distribute them out to grocery stores. And as you can see here, we're going to have a yard. We're going to have a small kind of a staging yard, holding yard, and lead track to our other two industries right here and right here. And then this backyard is going to be hidden by a backdrop. This line here represents a, it's going to be a backdrop right there. And that's going to hide this interchange. Not so much interchange, but hidden staging yard for the CSX trains that are going to exchange freight cars with the Worm, as well as my Amtrak train that's going to be roaming as well, and which is going to make stops at the town of whatever. Yeah, like I said, my layout's a flippin' mess, but we'll get there. We'll get it redone. I still got to wire this puppy up and put in the backdrop and everything else. It's a long drawn out process, but we're getting there. A little at a time, not no rush. It's an inanimate object, ain't going nowhere. But for the most part, that's our line. It's getting there. Now, a little at a time, making progress as we go. Trains ain't running yet because I had to shut them down. Being I added a lot more track to it, I'm going to have to get a 5 amp boost for all this stuff, all this mess. And that way I could run more trains and what have you. So I got a lot more spending to do, and being I'm on a small budget, what I budget myself for this, I have to wait a little bit. So, but other than that, I'm still making progress. The town is still going strong, so needs a severe dusting. When we did the flooring, all kinds of dust got kicked up. But other than that, it's getting there. Well, you guys have yourself a good Sunday. Me, I'm going to get back to work on this. Do a little bit of work, more work, and then hopefully be done with it for the day. You guys have yourself a wonderful Sunday. Remember, tomorrow's Monday, and we all, for those of us who are not retired and have to go to work, got to go to work tomorrow, guys. No playing with trains. Okay, you guys have yourself a wonderful Sunday, what's left of it. And I'll see you guys around. Take it easy.